I think it is to be in tune with God. See, if we are trying to fulfill the plan of God, His word, automatically I feel that this spirit permeates in the person. Though you might carry what I would say wrong labels. You know, we can have wrong labels put onto ourselves because we think maybe if I put this label is the right one or that one, but I think it's not the label. It is the spirit, haqq, truth. The Quran says, Al-haqqu min rabbikum wa la takun min al-mumtareen. It says truth comes from God alone. So be not be of those who doubt. There is only one truth, and that truth is from God. Whatever God says is truth. Once you are in tune with that, you vibrate on His wavelength. You don't become gods, but you are on His same vibration as His vibration.
Now, Mr. Deedat, how can you explain, sir, with your deep knowledge of all of the religious literature, how can you explain that people from your religion, people from Christianity, people from Israel, people from every other religion, and especially those with no religion at all who deny God, that we're all out there cheerfully slaughtering each other every single day from morning until night, and sometimes they stay up all night to get the job done?
True.
Where is God and Mohammed, everybody?
It is programming. You see, we all can get programmed into any types of attitudes. I mean, we take Germany, Hitler at Germany. Is Germany one of the most cultured nations in Europe? Is it possible that they could have incinerated 6 million Jews under Hitler? Obvious answer is no. How can a nation so cultured do a thing like that? But programming, we all can get brainwashed. And I say, whether Muslim, Hindu, or whatever titles you give to yourself, we all can be programmed into right and wrong. But to look at the problem objectively is very difficult. To get rid of our prejudice, as Roger Bacon, he said, it is easier for a man to burn down his own house than to get rid of his prejudice. It's very true. Whether Muslim, Christian, Jew, it applies to all. But now if we can become big enough to say, now let us see what have you got. What is truth and where is truth? Let us have some objective standards of judging truth. Not what I want to believe or what you want to believe. Let us see. And if there is a document, and we believe that there is a document, which we say the Holy Quran, when you open this book, and if you didn't know that you were reading the Quran, if you came across pieces of these writings, say in English, like the birth of Jesus, for example, from the Quran, and I have shown this to Christians, Orthodox Christians, born-again Christians, I say, just have a look at this, the birth of Jesus, in the Quran. It says, وَإِذْ قَالَتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ يَا مَرْيَمُ. It says, behold, the angel said, O Mary, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اسْتَفَاكِ وَطَهَّرَكِ وَاسْتَفَاكِ عَلَى نِسَاءِ الْعَالَمِينَ, that God Almighty has chosen thee and purified thee, chosen thee above the women of all nations. Now, so when you read words like this in English without seeing the Arabic text, in that portion, I said, if I read further to you, and if I read it all to you, if you read this on a piece of paper lying around, in 100 years, in 1,000 years, you'll never guess you're reading the Quran.
No, I wouldn't.
The Christian. I said, you would think that maybe this is the Roman Catholic version of the Bible, if you haven't seen one. Maybe this is the Greek Orthodox version of the Bible, which you might not have seen one. Maybe this is the New World Translation of the Bible by the Jehovah's Witnesses, if you haven't seen one, and on and on. But you'll never guess you're reading the Quran. Why? Because it's so close to your heart. See, what is being said is so close, that Jesus is the Messiah. He was born miraculously. He gave life to the dead by God's permission. He healed those born blind and the lepers by God's permission. Now, it's so close to your heart that it is like your own book. And that is with regard to any message. Anyway you read, it's as if there is somebody talking to you. I said, that somebody is God. Objectively, you can read, and as if this message is being spoken to your heart direct. But now what happens before you touch the book? A prejudice has already been created in your heart and mind. This is something that might burn your spirit or destroy you.
No, I think the Western mind says that's Khomeini, and that's opposite too.
That is today. But even before Khomeini, you see, I have sometimes Orthodox Christians coming along. There was one young man who was a Roman Catholic. He came for some other purposes. Then chatting, I took a liking to the man. I said, look, I'd like to present you with this Quran. And as if I was offering him some fire, to hold on to fire. I said, no, he can't have that. I said, look, read it, man, and see. And it took me a long time to persuade him to take the book. I said, read it, see what it has to say. And after reading it, he was a changed man. He said he didn't expect, what he's seeing it in here. Another elderly gentleman, we presented him with the Quran, this holy book. And after some time I phoned him up, I said, now, how's your progress? He said, no, I haven't read it yet. Again, another time, he said, I haven't had time to go to it yet. 3 or 4 times I phoned the man. Then he says, look, man, I have been reading it all along. But, I can't help agreeing with the book. And I'm too old to change now. So therefore, this is the problem. I'm too old to change. But he's reading it all along and he can't help agreeing with every principle that is enunciated. It is coming from the source of all truth. We say it from God. And if you, without prejudiced minds, if you open the book, you see what it does to you. It must change, create a change.
Did God choose Muhammad, or did Muhammad choose God to come? I mean, did he go to him, or which one came?
You see, we believe that God chose Muhammad. He chooses his messengers, God Almighty. He chooses his messengers. And these choosing are not of our standards. Like he chose Moses. He's a man who was a renegade from the law. He had killed an Egyptian. Secondly, he was a stutterer. He used to stutter. God chose him. We believe that God chose him to be his mouthpiece. He chose Jesus, a person without the genealogy. We believe he was born miraculously. The Christians say he was born miraculously. So where is his father? A man without a father that he can point to, now God goes and chooses a man like that. And as he says, of poor background. He said the foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hasn't got a place to rest his head. He goes and chooses such a man. Why? That's his business. Then he chooses Muhammad, a man who was absolutely illiterate, a person who didn't know how to read or write, a man who couldn't sign his own name. And he goes and chooses a man like that. Naturally, the more learned, the affluent, feel jealous. But now that one man, illiterate man, he brought about a book. This book, which in its material magnitude